University back at it with this trick. So, I'd much rather be milling, but I'm making this dining table. Those are the legs, and I got those from the leg shop in Long Island. And yeah, unfortunately these legs are not 100%. I don't know if you can see that there. Hold on, let's see if we can do this. See that there? I haven't coiled them yet, so don't castrate them. This is the bottom side, as you can see with the legs up here. And I was messing around with different colored epoxy to fill in the underside of the gaps. These are the inserts, the threaded inserts, some sockets, and yeah, these are a little big. They're 3/8. They're too big to get through the holes that are pre-drilled in the legs and the C-channel, so I'm going to use quarter 20s. Quarter 20 seems to be the standard. When I worked for a battery backup company, that was the size screw that they used. My dad and I made this, so this is a lifelong table. And if the wife doesn't like it, it'll go up as wall art, but I will never get rid of this. So you guessed it, I made a boo-boo when I was putting the threaded inserts for the table legs. Yep, went right through. Anyway, I filled it with caulk just to provide a little dam so that the CA glue didn't go crazy on me. This is brown CA glue. This is walnut, so that's why we use brown. Not because I'm brown. So yeah, that was fun. Hope you got a good laugh at the look on my face struggling with that thing. Anyway, when you're by yourself, you gotta do what you gotta do, you know what I mean? These are, I don't know, something, you know, 1/2 inch, 3/4 by 1 inch pieces of white oak scrap that I have. So when I'm done putting the oil-based poly on the bottom, I'll use these when I flip it over to rest the slab on. So the slab's not gonna be resting on the sawhorses. The bottom is sanded to 120. I didn't really have to go any further than that. Actually, I think I went to 180 or 150. Anyway, you didn't really have to do that, but anywhere that someone's hands would touch on the bottom is sanded to 220. YouTube University back at it with this trick. I never saw anybody do this, and it usually works out great. Probably now that I'm on camera, it won't, but let's see. Yeah, baby. That's great. It works out awesome. No spill. So just painter's tape. Yeah, you guys get it. I'm sure you've seen this before. And that's it. Much easier to pour it out. I'm gonna throw this on time lapse because it's not that interesting of a project here at this point, or it's not that interesting of a step. As you can see, it's rough. I got different colored. You guys have seen that already, I think. We'll see if that makes it on video. And my routing skills aren't so great. Again, this is on the bottom, and it is what it is. So here's the finished product. Looks pretty good from far. These are book matched, but this one here is flipped upside down so that those line up pretty good, and the table ends up being a lot wider. It's about 7 feet long and 4 feet wide. The narrowest part is 42, the widest is 48. I got the legs on here. Let's take a look at that. We did those legs. They're steel, blackened steel. They're not powder coated. Probably should have gotten them powder coated, but I was on a time crunch. And that kind of matches with that. And that over there. So kind of goes with that theme. And then we got a big steel beam here as well. So it kind of goes with all that. Anyway, one flaw that I wasn't really happy about was this joint that opened up after we put the table in here, and it was in here for a week. That was very tight, like you couldn't even see that before. So I'm not sure how to address that. Somebody give me some tips on how to address that. But on this side, check it out. You can almost barely make out where that seam is. I was pretty happy about that. The other thing that I wasn't too thrilled about was the finish. My finish work was not very good on this. So I put 2 coats of Osmo 410 polyurethane, which is good for exterior and interior. But then after that, I polished it with a automotive polisher, and that I think is where I screwed up. It was random orbital, but the pads that I had and the polisher was not very good quality. So I'm gonna have to redo this, but if somebody can give me any tips on what I should do, if anything, to fix this, because I'm really not happy about it. And you can see the imperfections in the finish. The table was used once already, or a couple times. We had a New Year party. It was Diwali a couple weeks ago. So you can see there are some scratches there, which I don't care about the scratches. I just care about the uniform finish. Do I need to sand this down completely and redo it and reapply the Osmo? Or can I just take the polisher with buffing compound and polish and clean it up? I would also like to shine this up a little bit more. This is just really a matte finish at the moment, which not the end of the world, but you can see where I taped it off and didn't do such a good job. So not so happy about that. But if I polish it, maybe that'll go away. Anyway, all in all, I'm kind of happy with it, but not completely. I'd say about 75% happy. It is beautiful though. I mean, Walnut is incredibly beautiful. Anyway, thanks for watching this long video. Appreciate it.